Day 4 of Hurricane Week 2020. Here I am once again, live in the chair. This is the first Hurricane Week in which my introductions have been entirely live. Well, it is again today, and as you can see, that effect is still there over my face. Remarkable. But as you know, it goes away eventually if you're a frequent viewer to Hurricane Week this year so far. Well, tonight we've got more interesting and fantastic content. I'm hoping that you'll agree. And last night we saw some amazing features. My top 10 hurricane beasts, our top 10 new findings of the past year, and an extremely poorly produced Eye of the Storm episode, thanks to me, an absolutely hilarious Fury of the Storm with Devon Williams. And I think it was Strat in the end that was the eventual victor. God help us all. Tonight, we have our shortest show of the week, but still a biggie. We have our top 10 Typhoon beasts coming up first. The tracks of Hurricanes Zeta and Eta, back to back in 20 minutes time. Eye of the Storm and more chatter in the second hour. So we've got another good stream for you tonight. Let's kick off with the Typhoon beasts, our top 10. Number 10 is one of my personal favourites for appearance, although it's a storm that may have been forgotten just a little bit. Typhoon VANESSA in 1984. It was the only Category 5 of that season, forming in the later part of October, reaching Category 5 status in the Philippine Sea after passing south of the Mariana Islands. Its origins were in Micronesia, and it bent towards the north, then towards the northeast, affecting the Ogasawara Islands of Japan before moving off out through the conventional direction out to sea and turning post-tropical. Well, VANESSA was not only the strongest storm of 1984, but it was actually the most intense storm of the entire decade of the 1980s, with an estimated central pressure of 879 millibars and maximum sustained winds of 180 miles per hour, and it was certainly a beast on satellite. Typhoon Win from October 1980 is another one of my personal favourites, a storm that formed over the eastern Micronesian islands in the early part of October and then curved towards the northwest, moving through the Mariana Islands as a strong tropical storm. Then on the 8th it rapidly intensified all the way up to Category 5 status, which it reached on the 9th, and then gradually weakened from there as it approached the Japanese Ryukyu Islands, and then curved towards the north and northeast, passing south of the Japanese main islands. This storm was remarkable in a few ways, in my opinion. First of all, it was very strong, 180 miles per hour at least, an estimated central pressure of 888 millibars, certainly a strong one, not the strongest, but it's definitely up there. And whilst the storm was near its peak, whilst it was just off the boil, weakening a little bit as it was approaching the Japanese islands, it actually displayed a hexagonal eye shape, which I think was particularly interesting. We've seen plenty of odd eye shapes, but that is definitely one of the earlier ones that I've seen on satellite imagery. And the storm had a decent appearance throughout, really, until it made that turn towards the northeast and went, as many other tropical cyclones do, and turned post-tropical off the coast of Japan. This storm damaged 1,000 buildings and killed 10. It also dumped 435 millimeters of rain. Typhoon Pseudolore is certainly infamous in our circles. It was our first year of doing live coverage as a team, and unfortunately we weren't quite ready for this one as I was on vacation, and at that point we were still a little bit primitive and we hadn't had any contingency plan really for what would happen if I was away and we had a Category 5 storm. Well, unfortunately that happened. Pseudolore peaked with winds of 180 miles per hour and a pressure of 900 millibars, and then made landfall in Taiwan, still as a major typhoon in a year that Taiwan got battered by multiple storms, and then moved into China as a much weakened storm, and briefly became a storm again as it emerged off the Chinese coast over the East China Sea. You'll also notice that Pseudolaw looked amazing from the International Space Station, so good that it's our featured storm on our logo for Hurricane Week this year. Well, Pseudolaw caused significant impacts as well in the areas that it affected, mainly Taiwan. It caused $3.2 billion in damages, 38 fatalities, 1,200 buildings damaged, and 7,844 destroyed.
Typhoon Mike was definitely a very powerful storm, very underestimated storm to say the least. When you go ahead and take a look at the storm reports for Typhoon Mike, you'll actually end up finding the JTWC reports that a lot of the reports said that Typhoon Mike ended up being T8.0, but for whatever reason, they just kept it at T7.5 for whatever reason and kept the storm at 175 miles an hour. I'm not quite sure what happened there because the storm definitely looked a lot better than 175 miles an hour. I mean, you go ahead and take a look at images from the peak of this storm and you really get surprised with it reminds me a lot of Hurricane Patricia when it was at its peak intensity. The two storms are very similar when you talk about very similar forward speeds, very similar sizes, very similar structures, and just how borderline perfect the storm ended up looking at its peak. Thankfully, it ended up rapidly weakening, very similar to Patricia after its peak intensity, so the landfall in the Philippines was not anywhere near as bad as it could have been. But still, just the fact that the storm was able to get as strong as it did is a testament to just how crazy these specific typhoons can get at times.
Well, now let's go back just a couple years to early September of 2018. Where a tropical storm formed over the Marshall Islands, I think. Yeah, it was very far east, actually, for a storm formation. Tropical storm Mangkhut formed, and as it started to gradually intensify, moving, I believe, just north of Guam, as a Category 2 typhoon, before it then underwent more rapid intensification into a Category 5 super typhoon in the Philippine Sea, where it held that intensity for a few days. Actually, it was a very long-lasting Category 5 storm. That's the thing that I really remember about Mangkhut was really how long it lasted. It was a Category 5 for like 3 or 4 days, which is very, very rare to see, because usually, you see these, these powerful storms undergo eye wall replacement cycles and such. So it was very interesting, to see Mangkhut, hang on, really held on for a very long time, really, up until it made landfall in northern Luzon as a Category 5 typhoon, I believe, with winds of like 165 miles an hour. It's a very powerful Category 5 typhoon landfall in northern Luzon. Thankfully, a very sparsely populated area. Mangkhut rapidly weakened as it entered the South China Sea, where it then made another rare feat as it approached Hong Kong. It actually activated, it was one of the very few times where Hong Kong activated Signal 10 warnings because it made landfall, I believe it was just west of Hong Kong. Mangkhut made landfall as a Category 1, which caused a lot of damage there as well, and then obviously it really died off as it moved in towards southern China. It made a peak intensity of 180 miles an hour. It still caused almost $4 billion in damages. So it's still a very deadly and a very costly storm, in addition to being one of the costliest Filipino typhoons in history. I believe the fourth costliest in Filipino history as of November 2020.
Now we extend a little bit further back in the archives to another incredible storm, Typhoon Rita in 1978. Now this storm is often overlooked because it predates the regular satellite imagery just by a tiny bit, but nonetheless the images that we do find are certainly eye-opening with regards to this storm. It's not just the imagery, it's the observations as well. Recon planes were in the storm for several days, from October the 22nd to October the 25th, 3 days in a row. It recorded central pressure of less than 900 millibars, with a first peak at 882 millibars early on October the 23rd, and the second peak of 878 millibars early on October the 25th. Now, of course, with recon gaps, there is the possibility that the pressure was even lower than that at either of its peaks, most likely the second one, and indeed that the winds were probably at least 160 miles per hour for the best part of 3.5 days continuously as it approached the Philippines. Rita weakened a little bit before getting there, but it was still a significant storm for the islands and beyond. Rita weakened slightly before reaching Luzon as a Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson scale and caused 724 fatalities in its wake, amongst damages of $138 million and 241,000 buildings damaged, 50,000 destroyed. The storm then went on to Vietnam as a much weaker system. Indeed, it was barely there at all by the time it got there, but this storm will definitely be remembered for some time yet with its massive peak intensity.
Well, just over a month ago, in late October of 2020, sometimes even quiet seasons can produce absolute monsters, such as the case this year with Typhoon Goni. It really formed in the Philippine Sea in late October, then rapidly intensified, as most storms do late in the season or later in the season. Initially, I believe, peaking with winds of around 180 miles an hour, a very, very powerful storm. It was expected to weaken over the next day or so before it made landfall in the Philippines. However, Goni was like, no, and it instead decided to keep intensifying up until its landfall on the 31st of, actually it was the early morning of November 1st, 2020, where it made a landfall.
Operationally, Force 13 went with a peak intensity of 195 miles per hour and remarkably a pressure estimate of 876 millibars. In reanalysis, we've dropped away from that just slightly, still 190 miles per hour, and an estimated pressure of 881 millibars pending further reanalysis at the end of the season. We haven't tabulated numbers for impacts yet on this storm, but it did cause serious damage, and it was quite clear that it had done when it made that Category 5 landfall on Catanduanes and then moving through the southern part of Luzon. Typhoon Ida in 1958 is another beast that's very well remembered. It struck Japan and caused severe damage in the eastern part of Honshu and the Tokyo region, but the storm peaked as a Category 5 much earlier than that, in September 1958, with estimated 5 miles per hour. Initially, or indeed officially, the central pressure was 877 millibars. That was based on a drop sonde, but apparently that occurred 11 miles from the center of the storm, based on the recon data. So it's probably likely that this storm had a lower central pressure, estimated by us at around 873 millibars, which is just 3 away from TIP's record. Ida then went on into the coast of Japan. It weakened substantially as it did so. Indeed, the central pressure at landfall was 955 millibars, the highest wind gust of 112 miles per hour, and maximum sustained winds in Iroazaki of 85 miles per hour. Still, even if it was only a Category 1 at landfall, it did contain a Category 5 storm surge, and the damages were tremendous. 16,743 buildings destroyed, 521,000 damaged. 1,138 injured in the storm as well, with the highest rainfall of 419.2 millimeters in Oshima. Ida ended up killing 1,269 and causing $50 million in damages across the country. For me, Typhoon Gay stands out as a beastly typhoon for multiple reasons. First of all, it was rather late in the season when it did reach its enormous intensity of an estimated 205 miles per hour. It was in the 3rd and 4th week of November. Also, this storm actually formed near the Marshall Islands before moving on towards the west, passing north of most of the Micronesian islands, and then took a direct hit on Guam on November 23rd. The storm then persisted towards the west and then towards the northwest, stalling a little bit as it started to gain latitude, and that's when it lost its intensity mainly. It did have a secondary peak as a Category 4 though, and just about lasted until the first day of December, when it moved northeastwards past the Japanese coast as an extratropical cyclone. At peak, this typhoon was immense. An enormous ring of minus 80-degree cloud tops, even minus 90 in one or two areas, and a pretty warm eye, an extremely good structure, shape of it, very good indeed. Officially, from the JTWC at least, they list this storm at 185 miles per hour. A lot of people here think it's a little bit low. Our current estimate from Force 13 has it at 205 miles per hour and an estimated pressure of 875 millibars, which, along with Mike, have two typhoons there in the early 90s period that really go above and beyond, and if we only had those recon planes, we might be able to make a better determination. These storms could have been even stronger.
Well, it's October of 1979 in the Western Pacific. I think you know what that means. It's the strongest tropical cyclone, or the most intense tropical cyclone in recorded history, is about to form in the form of Typhoon Tip. Really forming over the Micronesian islands, really just sort of a weird disturbance that sort of kind of looped around itself for a few days before it finally got to move on as it headed off towards the northwest, moving just to the south of Guam as a tropical storm just before becoming a Category 1 typhoon, where the tip then rapidly intensified into the obviously the strongest storm ever, the most intense storm ever recorded. Had winds of 190 miles an hour. That's not, yes, that's exceptionally powerful, but it's not, record-breaking like its pressure was, which was 870 millibars. The other thing about Tip was that it was the largest tropical cyclone ever recorded. In the Philippine Sea, it was absolutely huge. Tip's wind field, I think, got as far west as the Philippines, and I think eastern China and most of Japan were impacted by Tip. Basically, most of the basin, really. I think it had, its gale force winds were like 1,000 miles in diameter, in addition to being a 190 mile an hour at Category 5. So Tip is probably, the most incredible storm that we've ever seen. Of course, it then weakened before hitting Japan. It hit Japan only as a Category 1. We don't know how strong a storm can get, but I think Tip is about as close to the limit as we have observed.
Typhoon Tip's damage, particularly in Japan, was considerable, even though it was nowhere near its peak intensity when it struck. $400 million in damages occurred from the storm, 111 fatalities, 37,450 buildings damaged, with a further 7,500 destroyed. Tip is number 1 on our list of typhoon beasts. Welcome back. This is the Eye of the Storm, and if you missed yesterday, we had Ryan versus S. Ryan won in the end. We were plagued with so many issues on yesterday's show. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we do better on a technical level tonight than we did last night. Tonight, we do have Ryan back again, of course. This is his last obstacle tonight before the final tomorrow. And who is his opposition? Well, if I shrink down my display a little bit, if I can get it to my webcam, you'll be able to see who it is. It's Justin. Good evening to you both. Alright, we've got a... Oh yes, I'll put your output up as well. You both said good evening there. I almost made that mistake again. But thankfully, it didn't happen this time. So Ryan, how are you feeling about 2 wins under your belt at this point?
Feeling pretty good. We'll see if we get a third one here, but it doesn't matter because I'm playing tomorrow anyway, so
yes,
I can just win all the prizes there.
Well, of course, you are guaranteed on tomorrow. I should remember that myself, actually, because all the winners play each other tomorrow. Of course, it would be potentially easier for you if you did win again tonight, because you'd be playing 1-on-1 instead of 1 versus 2, because that's what it would be otherwise. Justin, you're joining us as well, and I think you might be quite decent at this because you're well versed on your Cyclone history.
Yes, I am, and I will make sure that Team Leahy will stop dead in its tracks tonight.
Not happening, man.
Well,
Not gonna
there's
happen.
some fighting talk. Let me just fade some of you guys up a little bit because you sound a little bit quiet, both of you actually. So I'll just see how that helps. So, usual stuff on today's show as we've had previously. The first round is a 1-minute round per contestant with questions on tropical cyclones. 10 points per correct answer, and hopefully, again, like last time, fingers crossed we don't run out of questions, otherwise I'll look very silly. So last night it was Ryan who won, so shall we start with you tonight, Ryan?
Sure.
Alright then, let's try and keep this slick into the first round. Oh, he's gone off the web. Yes, Ryan has to vacate the webcam every so often because it's pretty bad for his signal. But you saw what he looks like, so we all know. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. Hopefully this works. I've said that too much. What was the first storm of the 2018 Atlantic hurricane season?
Alberta.
Correct. In 2013, Tropical Storm Podal's remnants regenerated to become which Bay of Bengal cyclone? Are you going to pass?
Is that what I said Lottie.
No, Helen. How many hurricanes occurred in the 1961 Pacific hurricane season?
I don't know, 7?
2. In 2020, Hurricane Paulette reached tropical storm status on how many occasions?
Twice?
Yep. What category was Typhoon Haiyan at its final landfall?
Category 1.
Correct. Edward was the only storm to form in the Gulf of Mexico in which year?
2008?
1984. Lawin is the Philippine name for which 2016 super typhoon?
Ima.
Correct. 40 points there. Some pretty tough questions in that one. And I doubt Justin's going to get it any better. But 40 points for Ryan at the end of the first round. Justin, are you ready to go with the 60 seconds?
I am absolutely ready.
Absolutely ready. Not just ready. Absolutely ready. Here we go then. 60 seconds on the clock once again. What was the strongest storm of the 1951 Atlantic hurricane season?
Charlie.
Easy. The second Maroto typhoon is known by which international name?
Ida.
Nancy. How many Atlantic storms formed in August 1988?
3.
Correct. In 1974, Hurricane Carmen peaked at what category?
Category 4.
Correct. Cyclone Leon Eileen holds which record for the Indian Ocean?
The longest lived tropical cyclone.
Correct. In which year did the most recent naming format begin in the Western Pacific?
2000.
Correct. Tropical storm Dawn of 1998 occurred in which basin?
The Western Pacific.
Correct. What category did Cyclone Percy peak as in 2005?
Category 3.
5. In 2020, which country did Tropical Storm Sinlaku make landfall?
The Philippines.
Vietnam. What was the last Category 5 of the 2018 Pacific hurricane season?
Willa.
That is the right answer. Justin takes the lead on that one. 40 points Ryan, 60 points Justin. That's a very interesting start, I gotta say.
Yep, sure is.
And the viewers keeping up as well, just about. And now, and actually, I hope this is ready, because that's one thing that I failed to check properly. It should be. Can you get the impression that this is really done on the fly? That's because it actually sort of is. Just checking here. I think we've got the Guess the Storm round lined up, so hopefully when I press this button, it will go into it nicely. Oh no, we gotta... Hold on, we can't do that just yet, because you guys have to be able to see it. Hold on, let's just retreat a little minute here whilst we go back to our screen. What happens here is it's pretty tough right now, because we've got to grab... The way this is done technically, I've got to show my screen to everyone so that they can see what's going on the Guess the Storm screen. So there it is right now, there's us. Press OK on that, and that wasn't lined up properly. We'll just have it here now. Are we both ready to play?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here's the Guess the Storm round. Here comes your first storm. What is this?
This is
An Atlantic
I
storm.
guess this is like a tropical storm.
Marco.
No.
No, Bravo. It's
Tropical storm only.
right.
At a low latitude.
Yeah, I know.
Brett of 1993.
That's the right answer. Congratulations,
What?
Ryan. It was Brett of
Excuse me?
1993. Well done.
Oh my god.
You got 30 points on
Okay.
that, taking the lead again. He's good at Guess the Storm.
Apparently, I didn't think I was. I guess I am.
Here is the second one. There's 10, of course. What is this?
Ooh. Looks like a major hurricane.
It certainly does. But it's a Pacific typhoon.
Oh. Hmm.
Category 4 at peak. I can't even remember what it is myself. I'm going to have to go check.
Typhoon Goni 2015.
Nope, it occurred before 2000. Don't worry, I'm armed with the answer. You guys won't know. Here come the choices then. One of these storms.
Bing.
Typhoon
Nope.
Omar.
No. Justin?
Moreo.
No. Ryan?
Seth.
No. Justin?
Orchid.
No. Ryan?
Frida.
Correct. We got there in the end.
I knew that Orchid was a Cat 5, right? In 1994.
I don't even recall at this point. What's this?
I think it was one of the strongest.
So we're going down the same kind of track here. It's a Pacific storm. Doesn't elaborate which side.
Interesting.
Landfalling
either.
super typhoon.
Oh, really? Is it Mamie 2003?
No. Struck the Philippines and Vietnam.
Is it Typhoon Parma 2009?
No. It's one of these.
Angela, 1995.
No. Ryan?
Is it Vanessa?
No. Justin?
It's a roof.
No. Ryan?
Dot.
Yes, it's Dot. Marginal victories here. And here's the next storm. What on earth is this?
Is that Alberto 2018?
What's it, Alberto?
No.
That's Cristobal 2020. Oh no, that isn't.
It's an Atlantic hurricane.
That's a hurricane?
Maybe
Like
not
that
necessarily
image?
in that image, but at some point an Atlantic hurricane that formed in the Caribbean.
Marco?
No.
Tropical Storm Delta 2020.
No. Decent guesses. Made landfall in Florida.
Charlie?
Michael 2018.
Neither. It's one of these.
It's Ada 2020.
It is Ada.
Oh!
It is Ada.
Wow.
Yes. I'm surprised that took you so long. I really am. Yeah. People lolling at that, by
That
the
is
way, in
Ada.
the comments section.
I mean,
Oh,
I did
yeah.
not pay that much attention to Ada at that stage. In
Me
its
too.
life, so.
Me
Fair
neither.
enough. What's this?
Yeah, I don't know.
A major typhoon?
Typhoon.
I don't hold out a
Um,
huge amount of hope that you'll get this before the
Typhoon
choice.
Usagi
Typhoon Morcon.
2013.
None of those. Nope. Made landfall in Taiwan.
It's
Occurred in 2000.
Tommy in 2001.
Nope.
Bangshan 2008.
Nope. One of these.
Taraji 2001.
That's the right answer. Justin takes the lead. 100 points
Wow.
to 90 points.
Oh yeah, Taraji was a. Yeah, okay.
This is getting rather exciting, actually. Here comes the next guest to storm.
One of those Eastern Pacific hurricanes that looks familiar.
Congratulations, you got that one right. No points, I'm afraid, on that.
Genevieve
So-
2020.
Not Genevieve.
Lane of 2018.
Not Lane. Category 3 at peak there.
Olivia
Linda
2018.
2015.
Neither of those. Occurred in the Force 13 era.
It's Olaf 2015.
Not Olaf. It's one of these.
I think it's.
Oh, Hurricane Carlotta
No.
2012.
Raymond.
Yes!
2013.
It's Raymond!
Oh, he got it before.
Justin extends his lead. 90 points to 120. Still very close. And here is the next one. What on earth could this be?
I think I could have guessed that. But okay.
I mean, this one's pretty cruel if you ask me. Remained
What do
at
you
sea.
Typhoon Nuri 2014.
Not Nuri. It occurred before 1990.
No, how am I supposed to know?
I know, how's anyone supposed to know? These were sent in by,
Vanessa
By-
1984.
no, by, there's only 4 options though.
Doyle.
No. Ryan?
Cybele 1992.
Justin?
Wendy.
No. Ryan?
Frida.
It's the last one, yes. 20 points for that.
That's the second Frida. Is
Another
that the
one?
same storm?
No. It better not be. What's this?
Oh, that's Hurricane Miriam 2018.
No, it isn't.
Oh,
But it is a
Olivia
Pacific-
is it Oho 2015?
It is Oho! Congratulations!
Yes!
50 points, that's a
I knew
big
it was
win
one
there.
of those two.
That's a big win. 160 to 120 now. And we have 2 more storms to go. And now we've got to just sip tea for 30 seconds whilst we wait for the next one to begin. Remember tracking Oho?
Oh,
Yes, we made fun of it. Yes, we did at the time.
yeah.
Oh dear.
We did. 10 seconds for those at home who have had the mute button on, who still don't know the answer, and here we go with the next one. What's that? Dear.
Ooh, it's something from the 1960s or 70s.
It's an Atlantic named storm.
Okay.
Debbie,
Debbie,
1961.
1961. Oh.
No.
Oh.
Category
What
one.
if that was correct?
Yeah, it would have been funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Blanche, 1969.
No. It was in the 60s. Yeah. Here come some options. I think there's only 4 on this as well, so be quick with the buzzer.
Brenda,
Heidi.
1961.
It is Heidi. Justin, you got it. 20
Nice.
points.
Heidi of what year?
1967.
Oh. Wouldn't have known that one.
Me neither. And finally, there's this storm.
But what? Is that Jaguar?
No. Definitely not. Southern Hemisphere.
Wow. Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Katerina, 2004.
No, I'll tell you it's not the South Atlantic. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Occurred in February.
Is that
Francisco, 2020.
No.
Ron of 1997?
Extremely long track. Not Ron.
Katrina Victor
Leon the
Cindy.
Vine, 2000?
It is Leonaline. Justin takes the victory on that round. Winning by 10 points as we end
Wow.
round 2. That's amazing. This is the closest game by far. So there we have it. And I think... Did you get it? I think that's the first game in which you got the correct answer in every one there at some point.
Yeah.
So
we did.
that really pleases me that things have gone so swimmingly, and we're back here in the studio. Alright, well, at this point, as usual, we'll be taking a short break. The stream went fine. We'll be taking a short break, and we'll be back with round 3 and 4. Those are the random subject and the final round, the general knowledge rapid fire. Back in a moment. This week, viewers can also vote for their favourite storm, and we'll be revealing those top storms on Saturday, as voted on by our viewers. To take part in that voting, click on the vote link in our video description. And welcome back. This is Force 13 Live and Eye of the Storm Night 4. My name is Nathan Foy once again, and we're here with Ryan and the challenger tonight, Justin. And Justin is in the lead by a hair, 170 points to 160. That does mean that Ryan gets to choose which topic he would like to go with. The tonight's choices are history and Japan.
Wow. Okay, I'll go with history.
You're going with history?
Yes. Because
Okay.
I don't live in Japan.
Yeah, well, we sort of... That's quite obvious, really. Let's take a look at the history section, then 60 seconds on the clock like the first round. And I think on both of these question sheets, they were written by some other of our members, so don't go asking for cheat sheets, you won't get them. And here we go, Ryan, 60 seconds on the clock.
Alright.
In the Peloponnesian Wars, Athens fought against what other Greek state?
Sparta.
Correct. What kind of government was Rome before it became a republic?
Monarch?
Correct. Which dynasty of China founded the Silk Road?
The Qin dynasty.
Nope, Han. How many crusades were there?
12.
9. How long was the 100 Years' War?
Like, 100 years.
116. Which French king is known as the Sun King?
Louis the 14th.
Correct. Britain took what later would be named New York City from which country?
The Netherlands.
Correct. The Reign of Terror lasted for how long during the French Revolution?
2 days?
A year. How many Napoleonic Wars were there?
2.
5. What did the US 13th Amendment do?
Ban slavery.
Correct.
Abolish slavery.
You got it at the end there. So Ryan takes the lead again, 210 to 170. You got 5. Justin, how well do you know Japan?
Oh dear. Hopefully I know just enough.
Has Ryan really messed you up here? Well, who knows? Let's find out. I mean, some of the questions are geographical, so you may have a decent shout. Alright, here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. What is Japan's largest and most populated island?
Honshu.
Correct. What is the Japanese name for Japan?
Nippon.
Correct. By what name was the Emperor of Japan who reigned from 1926 to 1989 best known?
Hirohito.
Correct. What is the longest river in Japan?
The Nabe.
Shinano. What is a katana?
A sword.
Correct. Which city is the largest on the island of Hokkaido?
Sapporo.
Correct. What are the two main religions in Japan?
Buddhism and Shintoism.
Correct. Which Japanese mountaineer was the first woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest?
I have no idea.
Okay. What are manga?
What's the question?
What is manga?
It's a type of comic.
Correct. What gentle way was created by Jigoro Kanoin in 1882?
Bushido.
Judo. Slightly different. Ryan 210, Justin 240 at the end of that round. Wow, Justin did well there. And retains the lead, actually extends it by 20 points. So this is a very close game, going down to the final round, which is general knowledge, of course. We could have absolutely anything on this, and unfortunately, I'm slightly low on my general knowledge questions, so if we do reach a point where I run out of questions, I'm going to have to go very desperate, and, well, you'll see what'll happen. Are you both ready for the 2-minute duel?
I'm absolutely
Yep.
ready.
Boy, this is going to be a big round. Up for grabs tonight, a Force 13 branded hoodie from the merch store and a ticket to the final where you could win all Force 13 merch tomorrow night. And that in turn gets you a ticket through to the Super Cyclone Challenge for even bigger prizes on Saturday. Right, let's see if everything's ready. I think it is. Here we go with the final round. Best of luck to you both.
Alright.
Okay. What type of foodstuff might be served sunny side up?
Buzz.
Ryan.
Gravy.
No. Justin?
Pineapple.
No. Eggs. How many hours are in a week?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Ryan, buzz first. I was confused then. Yeah, you got to buzz in.
168.
168, that's the right answer. 110 seconds to go. What is the first planet in the solar system alphabetically?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
Mars.
No. Ryan?
Earth.
Correct. 10 points the gap. What is the right-hand side of a ship called?
Buzz.
Justin.
Starboard.
Correct. Which country owns the island of Greenland?
Buzz.
Justin.
Denmark.
Correct. In which year did man first land on the moon?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
1969.
That's the right answer. 230 to 270. Which canal links the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
Panama.
Can you hear
Panama
me?
Canal. We've got you, Ryan. Yeah, it's just that Justin's first on all these. What name is
What?
given
I
to
always-
the study of projectiles?
Buzz.
Justin.
Physics?
No.
No.
Ryan?
Buzz.
Yes.
Kinematics.
No, it's ballistics. Who discovered the island of Tierra del Fuego?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Goodness. 82 seconds. What colour is the circle on the flag of Bangladesh?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
Red.
Correct. 300
Is this
now.
bad? What the heck?
Huh?
Okay.
What's going on,
Nothing.
Ryan?
It's just that I always say Buzz before Justin, and yet Justin keeps getting it.
Really?
So I don't know
No.
what's going on.
Well, it must be a signal thing, Ryan. Do you wanna stop
is.
here and come back in and see if it rectifies the signal? I don't want you to miss out.
Sure, hold on.
78 seconds to go on the clock. Justin waiting patiently there, and we'll see whether. I mean, I don't know whether it's true or not over at this end. I go by what I hear first. 78 seconds on the clock. Here we go. On which island did the mafia originate?
Buzz.
Ryan.
Iceland?
No. Justin.
Sardinia.
Nope, it's Sicily. What is the largest US state?
Buzz.
Oh my goodness, that was a tie.
I think I got it first.
We'll have to do that one in a moment. In human biology, the scapula and patella are both types of what?
Buzz.
Ryan.
Bones?
Correct. What is the largest US state?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
Alaska.
Correct. Sorry, I had to do it that way. The Gettysburg Address
Well,
was
I would've
made
got it.
during which war?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
The Civil War.
Correct. What is the national airline of Germany?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
Lufthansa.
Correct. How many degrees Kelvin is absolute zero?
Buzz.
Justin.
0.
It
This
is
is so weird.
zero. Come on, Ryan. We can do it, man. 53 seconds.
Well-
You're getting through the questions real quick, though. In which game would you play with a double six and a double blank?
Buzz.
Ryan.
Tennis?
No. Justin.
Cards.
Dominoes. Which two nations occupy the island of Hispaniola?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
It is Haiti and Dominican Republic. In which ancient empire is the toga most associated?
Buzz.
Ryan.
Buzz.
The Mongols?
No.
The
Justin.
Romans.
It is the Romans. What currency is used in South Africa?
Buzz.
Justin.
The dollar.
Nope. Ryan.
Buzz. The Rhine?
The Rhine.
I don't know. I just
No,
made something.
it's Rand. In
Oh.
sport, on what would you find a doubles ring and a trebles ring?
Buzz.
Justin.
Racket.
No. Ryan.
I have no idea.
A dartboard. In physics, what V is another word for capacity?
Buzz.
Justin.
Volt.
No. Ryan.
Volume.
Yes, it's volume. The gap is 110 points. Time left on the clock, 16 seconds. I'm not sure you're going to do it, Ryan. What is another name for the abominable snowman?
Buzz.
Justin.
Yeti.
Correct.
Oh.
In military terms, what does the A stand for in KIA?
Buzz.
Justin.
Action.
Correct. What kind of creature is a marlin?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Justin.
It's a fish.
Correct. This is extraordinary. In which decade did Albert Einstein announce his special theory of relativity?
Buzz.
Justin.
The 1920s.
Nope, the 1900s. Oh my goodness gracious me.
Well, the signal was, like, lagging out. I mean, I think Justin would have still won, but, like... signal
Justin
Yeah.
has definitely won. Ryan with 250, Justin with 390.
I'll see you tomorrow. I'll
at
beat
the-
you tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yes!
So now we do have 3 winners. So there will be
That's
3
3 winners.
participants in tomorrow's final. for the chance to win all Force 13 merch. Wow, that's going to be very exciting. And a ticket to the Super Cyclone Challenge All In, where we have 8 people taking part to win a extraordinary array of prizes that we've not done before. I'm really looking forward to that. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for taking part. Ryan, I doubt you'll be feeling too bad about that, considering you're already in the final, and, well, I guess you wanted the hoodie more than the other stuff that you've already got.
Yeah, I'll win it all
fine.
tomorrow.
I honestly feel a little bad for you. Good game, though, Leahy. Good game.
Definitely so. Applications, of course, are closed, but you can still participate in the Super Cyclone Challenge All In on Saturday. Those applications only close at 12 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday. So, you can check that out, see the video description for details. You can also check our video description for information about how to vote for the viewers' top 10, which we'll be revealing on Saturday. Any final comments from the pair of you?
I really don't know what to say. I thought it was going to be a much closer game than this. So
It was
It
the
would have been
end.
much
It
closer.
was the end.
It would have been much closer if my signal was working properly.
Oh dear, the poor signal. Alright, well, we're going to move away now and enter our next area, and hopefully that will work. Hold on, let me just get all my things ready here so that there's no embarrassment from anyone anywhere. And we go on to this tab, and let's see who we've got in our community tonight. Hello, who have we got here?
A lot of people. That's how you know.
You're live on Force 13's Hurricane Week Night 4, and this is the full team. We're here once again, consisting at this moment in time of Christian, Isaac, Strat, Amy, Ethan, Kay, Strataclaus, and Thomas Schwent. Good evening to you all.
Good evening. I think Leahy wants in here too. He's in the green room.
Get him in here. Leahy needs it.
There we go.
Radical Christmas.
So there we go. Well, that was a very interesting game.
Yep. Absolutely. That general knowledge, just the general knowledge rounds were crazy. I don't think there's a question in one of the rounds that was missed by anyone.
Guess the storm was 100%.
Yeah.
Guess the storm.
You're welcome, by the way.
Yes, Thomas devised those.
Whack.
I was playing
Thanks,
along
Thomas.
with the round as well.
Who's got that audio?
Hold up.
Christian.
Me?
Or
Hang on.
no, it's Jacob. Or Straticus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strat, you're here again tonight. A fan favourite for a lot of people. Did you apply for Eye of the Storm?
Why are you asking that? Because you know I did, and I'm one of the 2 people that didn't get selected. There's like 7 qualified applicants, and I was one of the 2 that didn't get selected.
Just shows you how random it was. It really
Who
was
the other
random.
one?
Oh, believe me, I got selected for it, Strat, and you saw how well I did.
Only 7 people.
I don't know how much better I would have done unless it was a massive general knowledge round like tonight, because I am not a good guess the stormer, as you guys all know.
How would you
Yeah.
have done with the
Neither am
history?
I.
Because you're a bit into history, aren't you, Strat?
I got way too many hours in grand strategy
Yes,
history
David,
game.
I've
I
got
probably would
people-
have done pretty well in the Japan one or the general history one.
Yeah. All right.
I would guess. I thought
Here's some
for a
comments.
second.
David, it says in the comments section, David Tones, our very own. Not those ears again, Christian.
Yes, I've got them on again. I'll be honest, I put them on and I forget about them.
Yes.
Oh wait, I'm gonna
the
support you,
country with
Christian. I'm gonna support you.
Huskies.
Oh, where's Strat gone?
Oh, Strat, what's Strat?
What
doing?
Strat putting on?
I got your back, man. I'm with you on this. I'm with
What
you on
is
this.
that?
Oh no.
These
What
are like,
is that?
It's like candy cane. See?
What?
Wait, what is it supposed to be? It says Christmas headband, Merry Bright.
Strat.
Oh, I wasn't wearing it right. That's why. Look, see? Oh,
He wasn't wearing it right.
Oh dear, Strat.
I support you, Christian.
Crikey. Crikey.
I got your back,
Yeah.
man.
Thomas is gone. What's Thomas doing?
He better be getting his own
Thomas.
headband.
Thomas?
Join the team.
Thinking about the back, probably.
He's gone. He's
For
gone.
a second, Nathan, I thought you were going to go into those questions. Was that what was going to happen?
Which questions?
Wait, if you ran out of general knowledge questions, you're gonna go into.
Oh no! I wasn't. If I ran out of general knowledge, I'd basically be getting the
Apparently he's
contestants.
not here.
We'd be if I ran out of questions, I was going to get the contestants to rattle off as many 2020 storms as possible.
That'd be easy for me. That'd be easy.
Goodness, Nathan, that would have been awkward.
Yes, it would. So thankfully we didn't get that far.
Well, now I know what to expect tomorrow.
No, you won't be getting that. We'll be more prepared for that. All right. So now we have a little bit of time to talk about anyone else's experiences in getting here to the wonderful world of Force 13, as many people might say. I don't know. We've not spoke to Kay about this yet. Would you be interested?
I don't know if Isaac wanted to go first.
Oh, Isaac.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be here tomorrow, so
yes.
I guess might as well get it over with today.
Well, you've been here with us for quite a while, and I think a lot of people. No, actually, I think a lot of people did maybe overlook you a little bit before this season in particular, but I think you've been on quite a little bit more, especially front of house on the live events during the storms of this season. I know you were there with Harvey as well, yeah.
Oh god, yeah, that one. For me, it started out, I guess, for a really quick thing, I started getting interested in weather around 2008, and the storm that interested me was Hurricane Dolly. I didn't get hit by the eye wall to eye. That went to myself, but I got hit by the really strong outer bands it had. And I remember just looking outside and seeing just the sheets of rain hitting the window, and just mesmerizing seeing it. And my mom, of course, told me to back away from the window because, it was pretty scary stuff, even though we're in the outer bands. And I remember seeing radar of it and just being transfixed, seeing the eye just come ashore in Texas. And then I first started seeing Force 13 before, when Nathan had his other channel. I forgot the name of it, but I remember seeing some of the... Yeah, I remember seeing some of the old stuff on there.
Let me just ask, did you experience Hermine at all in 2010?
To be honest, I only remembered Alex and Dolly. I don't remember really Hermine at all. If I do, it's just a distant memory.
Yes.
But I started watching you, I want to say maybe early 2011 when he had that older channel. Then he deleted it, then he started a new one. And I remember just watching it from there on in. And then I started watching it closely, probably around 2013, 2012-ish. And of course, I saw the coverage of High End when that was going on. I remember watching the old website that he had that had the automated counter that would go up in the wind speed, and seeing it gradually change color and then eventually hit 195 when it was making landfall.
That's right. Just one little clarification on that. It wasn't automated.
Oh, it wasn't?
No. I updated that every day.
Wow.
Multiple times a day.
I remember watching that and just being wow, how high it was getting.
Yeah.
And then watching that. And then when I first started to join the live streams, was after Moranti, which is a storm I'm screen sharing right now.
Oh.
It was the day after. Well, this was at peak. This image is when it was at peak, but I joined the day after it peaked on the 14th. And I still don't know why, to this day, why this was a thing, but when it was back in the Skype days, I joined.
Yep. That was September 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, September 2016. I ended up joining a call between you and Devin when you were doing a live update on Moranti or something going on near it. And I remember just being there and just watching you guys go through the update, and just being kind of just, again, awestruck just how you guys were just going through it, fast, effortlessly, not hyping it up, not downplaying it whatsoever, just going through it and giving information to the people.
That's one of the things that I've certainly always been what I hold very much importance in is you see all these hype people out there these days around every subject in the news media world. And I like to think that we don't go to that extreme at any point.
Yeah, I just remember watching that, and I still don't know why I got in there. I don't know if you put me in there or Devin put me in there by accident. But I remember being in there and just watching the process and all that, and it was really cool. And then, of course, later that year I became a member, And my first stream that I was a part of was, technically it was Meggy that same year, but it didn't say a word on that stream for whatever reason. The first stream I actually talked in was Hurricane Matthew, when it was the day before it peaked. And after that point, I continued my membership status, and I met a lot of good people and I made a lot of friends in that time and a lot of standing relationships. And I think without Force 13, I wouldn't be in the spot that I am right now. It's really opened me up, on a personal level. I used to be kind of really shy and not really wanting to talk to anybody. And because of Force 13, because of some of the people that I've met on there that I still talk to on a regular basis, has really helped me out with my mental state and really helped me out.
Wow.
Kind of open up, in my opinion. And
Yes.
I don't really know what to say. I'm probably
Isaac,
sounding like a broken record.
How do you feel about streaming with us now? Do you still get nervous?
Of course. I always do, especially when some storms are threatening me. I know with Lori, I was a nervous wreck. I was a nervous wreck the entire day, and then Harvey, the big one. After that happened, before Harvey, I was kind of just indifferent about these storms. I was like, sure, they're cool, whatever. I don't really get, what the big deal about them was. And then once I saw Harvey, and I went through the hell with that, even though I didn't get in the eye wall or the eye of it, but having just to evacuate from where you grew up in all your life, having to leave that all behind, evacuate, and having to evacuate again because you're in danger because the storm decided to rapidly intensify before landfall. And just seeing the images and pictures firsthand, really, the damage firsthand. I remember when I had to get back to Corpus Christi, to where I live, I had to go back to Corpus Christi for my evacuation. I had to pass right through some of the heart of the damage from Harvey.
That's right.
And
yes.
the damage was otherworldly, to say the least.
That
And people helping one another. The main thing I remember, though, was people helping one another, regardless of what was going on, helping one another, acting as if, they were long-standing friends, and helping each other out in the time of crisis, and that really stuck with me.
We need stuff like that.
Yes.
We certainly do. I'd just like to point out, Thomas, you didn't get away with it. Hurricane Andrew spotted you eating.
I think everyone did.
Did everyone do that? Okay, fine. Yes, very good. Hope it was worth it.
I did.
I even showed everyone my empty box.
Oh, you did?
I did.
No, we're fine with that. And we've also got Farhan there as well, I can see.
Hello.
And
I am here.
You've appeared on Hurricane Week a couple of times by now.
Yes, I am. I am very pleased to have appeared in Hurricane Week.
What did you think of your performance?
I think I'm doing rather well.
That's good.
My personal complaint is that you made my video a bit bright for Vera. I was like, holy crap, why am I so white?
Yeah, same with me. Like, a lot of the parts where, like, you could see my face, it was like, well, when it was, like, broad daylight out, it was, like, super, super bright. But, like, other than that, it's been fine.
Well, we tried to do our best with the imagery, which was, in that second broadcast of yours, Ryan, was a little bit not quite as good as the first. The first one was pretty decent.
Well, yeah, because that was at nighttime.
Yes.
I just realized something.
Yes, Strat?
Me and Isaac are Hurricane Matthew bros in terms of our first streams.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
Did you just say Hurricane Matthew bros?
Yeah, we both were on a stream for the first time on the same storm.
Strat, I want you to know this weekend you will be tortured on Minecraft. Just for that.
You're supposed to be on my team in that.
Oh, God.
Not against me.
Yes, thank goodness for that.
And Ethan there with what has been described in the comments as vibe lights.
I can turn it off.
No,
the vibe lights.
That's good. It's good.
It's very bright.
Well, there's a big light there.
Yeah, we see that. The vibe lights.
Very interesting. Kay, did you want to speak up here?
I think I might as well, because I'm going home tomorrow and I won't really be able to talk as freely.
Okay.
Yeah, so I first found out about Force 13's existence during 2017 when there were several viral videos that showed up in everyone's YouTube feeds, and I was one of those people to get a video. Watched a couple of the Irma updates, tuned into the Harvey live stream at some point. But then it sort of drifted off my radar until Florence happened. And then I realised Force 13 was a thing just in time for Michael.
Oh.
So that's the first big thing I remember watching. Then I followed Force 13 all through 2019, my first full season tracking hurricanes. Watched a lot of Dorian coverage, learnt a lot from it.
Just a minute, Kay. We've got an altercation going on in Ethan's room.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Ethan, what's going on?
What's he saying?
It's his
Hey,
dog.
Mitchell again.
He was barking.
Yes, Mitchell. Come here. Come here.
We gotta have a Mitchell appearance. We've got to.
Hello.
We've got
There he is.
There he is.
That was very brief. Extremely brief. Oh no, there.
No, he's hiding.
There we are. There we are. Lovely
There we
Mitchell.
Aww.
Yes. So, Kay. As you were saying, Kay.
Yes. So, throughout 2019, I followed the hurricane season through and with Force 13, really, particularly Dorian coverage. And then early this year, I was watching the tornado coverage for the East outbreak.
Yeah.
And I realised there was a lot of stuff coming through on social media that wasn't necessarily getting into the stream. So I decided to join the Discord server and start supplying social media updates to the live stream.
That's how it started, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then after that, I just chilled on the server, the Discord server, for a bit, and then decided that I wanted to help out more, so I applied to be a contributor and a moderator, and then just started doing things from there.
So
that was the 3rd of June, I believe.
You went from chilling to decidedly not chilling right now, taking on a lot of responsibilities.
Yes. Got a fair few things.
But then again,
I'll be able to start. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to start doing Force 13 UK things this
yeah,
winter.
of course. Then again, Strat has a lot of responsibilities too, but he's still chill.
You can have responsibilities and chill. It's just, whether or not you're killing off your sleep schedule or your work schedule. And you can choose killing off
I definitely gave up my sleep schedule for this hurricane season. During the
sorry about that.
During the NOAA live coverage, when that thing made landfall at something like 6:30 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
On the day of the landfall, my youngest brother was having his belated birthday party that had been delayed due to COVID. He was having it in the summer, but to comply with regulations, we had to have it in a tent in the garden. So he had a sleepover in the tent, and I was the babysitter. So I was moderating the 50-strong Discord call that happened during Laura's landfall. Yeah, there was 50 people in the Discord call when Laura made landfall, and I was moderating it in a sleeping bag on a roll mat in the tent in my garden, with a glass of whiskey and a bar of chocolate.
Extraordinary.
I'm so sorry for you.
US audience, do not drink until you're 21, US audience. This is the UK. They have different rules.
Yes,
there.
I'm in the UK, where we drink at a more reasonable age than the US.
Yeah.
Oh, savage.
Hey, we got college here. They don't really enforce that stuff.
Me and UK, we both started drinking at 18, didn't we?
So did I.
Oh yes, of course. Not a day earlier. You're absolutely
Not a day
right.
earlier.
Oh, believe me, so did I.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I will say this year there's been a lot of times where, sleep schedules and general work schedules been insane with the storms that have been happening. Not just Laura. I think probably Donny is the biggest example. A lot of us are US based. And even if you're in the Europe for it as well.
Westpac is a killer for US, I guess, isn't it?
Goni was a bit more reasonable time for us in Europe.
1,000 T-cost point. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
1,000 T-cost point.
It was like
That's been
1,000.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
A lot of us are having to wake up at 6, 7 a.m. for some reason, and then go through the entire day, but then you can't go to sleep until at least 2 or 3 a.m. because of everything.
Well,
that's going on.
for me, it was the other thing. I was going to sleep in the early hours of the morning and then getting up around 5, 6, 7 p.m. in the evening at the peak of hurricane season.
God.
Yeah, it was the opposite here. I guess the difference for some of us here in the U.S. compared to the UK and stuff is that those time frames with lore, for example, where some of us were staying up till 3 in the morning for landfall stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
we
Yeah,
didn't have other obligations.
landfall was 6:30 our time.
Yeah. You
So
know, I remember
close.
that train probably went till like 4 a.m. Eastern time that day, even after landfall. You know, the
Yeah.
difference is most of us didn't have our schools or colleges or whatever at that point. During Goni, all of us were, you know, in online school some kind. So on
Yeah.
top of the sleep schedule times, we had our own classes and other schoolwork to attend to.
More
So it makes it
recently, IOTA.
Yeah.
We had that 6-hour landfall stream that finished at like 4 in the morning my time.
Yeah, it ended at like 11 at night my time. It was.
Shall we go over the some of these storms in more detail, because we've got our monthly summaries as well, and today.
Well, we can talk about Laura.
Yes, it's July and August today.
July and August.
Well, I think Ethan wants to go on and on about Douglas real quick, and then we can get on to the storms that are actually interesting.
Douglas was a storm that existed. The end. Let's move on.
Okay.
Here's Douglas.
We had to do
Poor
quite
Douglas.
a bit of coverage on Douglas.
Here's Douglas.
I will say, despite Douglas fortunately having an almost 30-mile track error in 6 hours that allowed it to completely miss tropical storm conditions on Maui, compared to the prior forecasters gave it like a 3/4 chance of happening. You know, I think the combination of Hannah and Douglas is particularly notable, not just because, you know, Douglas was a long tracking storm that approached Hawaii and Hannah was the first hurricane landfall of the year, but that was sort of really a big change for Force 13 as a whole.
It just felt like things are really hitting the fan when you saw that early season-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, but like that moment too, those two storms was like, oh, for some reason, you know, we're gaining a lot more traction awareness over the coverage we're providing than in the past, and that was really, I guess, a turning moment in terms of how we were approaching things.
Yeah, I feel like it really was a turning moment.
Yeah, and we also introduced the automated streaming service around then too.
That
so
did,
that was
happen
yes, we did.
in the middle of July. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I
All I
wanted
can
to-
remember.
Yes.
From all I can remember from July is that it took a long time for Hawaii's hurricane shield to activate.
It was the last second, like the last
Yeah.
second possible.
Yeah.
I reckon Florida stole it for Isaias and then forgot to give it back on time.
Yeah, and then it was the turn of Isaias, which was the storm that people struggled with throughout, for multiple
Isaias.
reasons.
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation, what's it going to do next? Oh, it's dying near the Bahamas. Oh no, it's forming again.
Oh no, it's gonna blow up to
Oh,
a Cat
yes.
2 before making landfall in North Carolina.
Well, you know,
I still can't believe it managed to get Cat 4 flight level winds before
Yeah,
landfall.
that was
extraordinary.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was
god.
Sting jet was
When that
really
came
something.
When that came in, my jaw dropped. Like, what the heck? Like, I'd never seen anything like
was-
it before.
It was such a
Yeah.
roller coaster. At first, they thought it was gonna like weaken and die, and then it was like, nope, I'm gonna strengthen again, and then it nearly peaks out like right at landfall for the Carolinas.
Yeah.
The other
couldn't make up its
thing
mind.
about that month
And the
too,
tornado
was that
outbreak.
the Western Pacific had no storms that month of July. That
Oh,
was the
yes.
first time on
The
record.
quietest July on record.
that is
And then it was-
remarkable.
Well, I
and-
mean,
The
I
first
guess I named
three
Karina,
rising
but they're
after
the only one who had it as a tropical depression.
yes.
Yes,
But
and it-
actually, no storms, and you know how much research I've done
Well,
in
there
the
was
Western
one
Pacific.
depression, wasn't there? There was that
Yeah, but
depression
nothing,
the Philippines called something.
nothing that would be a named storm. But you know, my
Till August
research in the
1st,
Western
I think.
Pacific, that's
Yeah.
not happened at all, going back to 1884.
Yeah.
Ethan was
Yeah.
very excited about the possibility of Douglas becoming the only Pacific storm in July. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
It just missed though, to be fair. It was
Yeah,
like
it was just
64
barely
hours
died
away.
before getting there.
Yeah.
like that was very close.
Something that I want to point out real quick about Douglas is, personally, I think that Douglas is a contender for one of the most prettiest storms on record this year.
I'll vouch for that. I'll vouch for that.
Like,
And I believe that
I've got imagery up on my screen, Nathan.
It was
and
pretty.
Let me just fast forward here. Look at that! Look at this images here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic storm during the daytime. Like,
I agree.
Yes.
That's a clear category 4 to me, and personally, I think that its peak density was probably around 145, 150 miles an hour.
And I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's definitely very strong. But unfortunately, the hour replacement cycle shot it a bit, and before it started to reach Hawaii.
That really, that's really impressive, actually. Wow.
And I believe, Strat, continuing on your momentum thing earlier, I think Isaias passed the all-time concurrent viewership record for the project at the time.
It was not even close. I'll be honest about that in terms of momentum.
I don't even remember.
I can tell you right now, and this is something that I really started to notice too. The prior record was Dorian during 2019. That was about 1900. What we did starting around Isaias was introduce the automated streaming service, which is that thing that's usually 24/7. It's off this week, although we've had Barevi floater stream some of the time to give continuous live coverage and updates on satellite imagery and some other information for storms. That allowed us to then do separate commentary streams in shorter segments, which really gave us, I guess, more stamina and energy because we weren't exerting ourselves over such a long time at once.
Worked out well.
I believe we got more viewership than a live stream coming from, I think, one of those mainstream channels like CBS or something.
It's actually correct, and that blew my mind, honestly, because some of those weren't just their own automated streams from a lot of those huge media companies, but it was some of those also showing their actual live coverage. So that blew my mind personally, seeing some of that
believe
stuff.
Ethan was on vacation in Rhode Island when Isaias struck there.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and Isaias up here on the East Coast, not just in the Carolinas, but all the way to New England, was, at least for my town in southwestern Connecticut, one of the top 5 worst storms on record for the town.
Did we even mention Faye yesterday?
It doesn't matter. It's Faye. It did nothing.
But it was interesting. We did coverage.
We did, but it wasn't interesting at all. And I'm saying that as someone that got impacted by it.
Faye was the record 6th earliest F-name storm in the Atlantic.
Well, I think that you could say that was interesting about literally every storm from Faye onwards.
Yeah,
so,
what was that?
Yeah, the only 2 storms that didn't break a formation record, or 3, were the
Bertha and Dolly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Every single one was the earliest. So.
Yeah.
And that is actually the voice of Rishi, which we haven't spoken to tonight. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome aboard. I don't suppose you've got any. You would like to share your story of how you got involved in storm tracking and in our work?
Sure. So, I think that the first time I really started paying attention to storms was actually when I got caught in the outer band of Dennis in 2005.
Wow.
So 5 years of time, but I remember landing down in Florida during on vacation. It was raining, cats and dogs. Go to the Weather Channel.
We're struggling with your signal a bit just now, but we'll see if we can.
Well,
come.
Anyway, details aren't important there, but basically, so I ended up joining Force 13. Actually, I'm really new to the service still. I'm still only, I think, barely a month into my tenure.
A month?
But,
that's short. It's incredible.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But even still,
feels like a year to me.
It honestly feels like it's been an eternity, especially after covering Yota a couple weeks ago. As my first streams, watching a Cat 5 explode and then ravage the same area that Ada had just demolished was just it's something that I hope I don't have to go through again. But if coverage needs to happen, then coverage will happen.
And we'll be seeing the track of Iota on Saturday, just in case anyone was wondering when that would be. Saturday night at, let me see what time that is. That will be at about midnight UTC, so literally now on Saturday night.
Alright, I did just want to bring up, because I know we're going to talk about Laura, of course, here at some point soon. Before we probably spend a while with that, I don't think you can do July through August monthly summaries without mentioning Bobby Masak and Hai Shen. I think that...
Oh, that was
yes,
that was
the tree.
Nathan.
The
Yes.
three Korean musketeers, as I would like to call them, the three Korean musketeer.
I mean, that's not a bad way of putting it. I mean, you had three Category 3 plus Typhoons, which hit Korea in some way, shape, or
Korea,
form.
yes.
They sort of just piggyback of each other.
I believe Bobby
sort of
was
just
a
piggyback
Cat
of each
3,
other.
Maystack was a Cat 4, and Haishen was a Cat 5. So
Yeah.
yeah,
3, 4, 5.
Yeah, here it was.
Of each
I'm just
other.
showing
Baby
the.
was.
I finally got it on the screen. I can show you the tracks. Oh dear, we've got a terrible keying effect there. Thomas is sort of half there and half not. There we go.
Uh-oh.
That was the storms that happened in the Western Pacific and the wind fields there. It was the first time that Force 13 actually went and did multiple individual storm animations in one. It's sort of like a hybrid between an individual storm animation and a full season animation.
I'm just looking at myself on this map right now.
Yep, Thomas was laughing at himself on the map, and well,
oh my goodness.
It was definitely good animation too, but I'm seeing Thomas on this
I'm
stream.
gonna disappear.
Oh,
We're
that's
talking
wild.
about August
I
Typhoon.
personally would just like to go back a few storms, Nathan, and go back to Isaias because
yes,
Isaias was the first ever tropical cyclone that I've been through in history, with me being in vacation up in Rhode Island. We're certainly far away from the center area and everything, but one thing that I remember about Isaias here real quick was it was in the middle of the day and it was extremely calm, and I was watching the radar and there was an outer band of the storm offshore pushing towards our location, and looked like there could be some embedded tornadoes in it, and luckily we didn't get hit by a tornado, but after that front passed through, the wind really picked up, and I began to think, holy crap, this is a real tropical cyclone.
yes.
Because being well in that, I've never been in one, so...
Yeah,
and
I could say as someone near you, we had our first confirmed tornado in my town in recorded history. It hit literally one house and then went back up into the air. But it's the first one ever in our town, a little down the coast from when you were staying, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I
we
think
didn't get that much impact. We didn't even lose power during the storm, believe it or not.
Rhode Island got lucky.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I'd estimate that wind gusts probably topped around 70, 75 miles an hour. So, because we frequently get squall lines here, and they can pack a punch.
Yeah, because what happened with the storm as it moved further inland, especially once it was getting up towards our latitude, is the strongest winds weren't at the center at all. They were displaced onto the coast around southern New England. So even if you were, either in New York area or all the way out in Rhode Island, you were getting pretty similar winds, because that's what we got here. I guess we just got it for a lot longer, though, because my whole town lost power, and me and my own mom, we had to go to, a motel for a couple days because... online college and stuff over summer courses. We had to do finals. We didn't have any power or electricity. I guess Rhode Island got lucky compared to Connecticut, but basically 90% of my county lost power initially. Wow. It was a wild experience.
Yeah, we were literally right on the coast, so we got the full front of the winds, and coincidentally on a few days after the storm, we had to go back to Connecticut. Go back to my grandparents' house and stay there for a few days before I left. But there was power out there, and I think that we returned around 24 hours or so after the storm, and from 24 hours after the storm hit the New England area, all the way up to the morning of August 10th, there was absolutely no power there. I remember right as I was taking off from the airport there in northern Connecticut, I got a text from my grandparents saying that the power just came back on. So perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, we had power lost for more days with Isaias than we did with Sandy. And that's something I thought was particularly, out of whack considering the situation. We lost power with Sandy for 3 days. It was 4.5 with Isaias. And my fridge, which has all my stickers on it, is still outside on the back porch to this day, because it was about to flood my room with all the ice in it that was melting, and we just never got it back inside.
Okay.
Yeah,
Strat's fridge ended up.
One of the strange things that I remember about Isaias, though, is when you think about a tropical cyclone, you think about a lot of rainfall. And believe it or not, where I was staying in Rhode Island, we didn't even get a single inch of rainfall. Like, no rainfall at all. It was just a lot of wind.
Yeah, I'm sure Rishi can talk to this too, someone else in like the New England region. But for this storm, and it's similar for Faye and Sandy too. The rain shields, by the time those storms get up here, start displacing off to the northwest. You'll get a ton of wind, but then not really a lot of heavy rain.
Hey Strat, someone just called you Chatty Stratty. That's really good.
Yeah,
well
I'm just
done.
looking at Rishi's
I mean-
screen here right now, and yeah, it does appear that power outage-wise, Connecticut took a
Yeah,
significant
so
insight.
there is after Isaias, I know it's pronounced Isaias, but Isaias is so much easier for me. But even from this little gift, Jesus, what the heck is that noise? Are we good?
What's the police doing?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
What was that?
Yeah, I couldn't talk over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Connecticut, for whatever reason, we don't have like a government like supported power company, I guess. So our local power company had to go ahead and try to fix all the power outages that happened from Isaias. And I think there were still some households that were out of power almost 3 weeks after the storm. Thankfully, mine wasn't one of them. Like our house somehow survived without too much issue. But I did know of quite a few people that were out of power for weeks on end after that storm passed through.
It was a bad storm, at least in Connecticut's regard too, because not just the storm being bad in total damages, but in terms of the length of power outages, the company that controls like 90% of the state's power grid also had a lot of failures with their infrastructure because of the storm. So that's why it took a lot longer for a lot of us up here in Connecticut to get our power back after that.
Just all in all, it was a bad situation from that storm. So.
What about the other hurricane to strike the U.S. in July?
Yeah.
And I went through the outer bands of that. At first, initially, it's forecast to make landfall just to my south, so we were expected to get the worst quadrant of it, the northern eye wall. But then it took a more southerly jog, the more it intensified. So I ended up only getting about sustained winds of about 40, 50 miles per hour, maybe gusts up to maybe 60, 70. However, even though we got tropical storm force winds, power was still lost in parts of the city. I thankfully didn't lose power. It flickered a lot, but I didn't lose power. If I remember correctly, I want to say at least 10,000 lost power within the city. And of course, that was a lot more further down south. I think especially, though, one of the worst cities that got impacted by it was Raymondville, which is further inland than Corpus Christi, which is right around here. Raymondville got heavily impacted by it, and in fact, the rainfall was so much from it that one of the malls in there, parts of the roof collapsed inward into the mall. Thankfully, nobody was inside due to the ongoing pandemic, but quite scary stuff. But yeah, most of the worst of it mostly stayed to my south, which is it pretty much made landfall in probably the best possible spot a storm could make landfall on the Texas coastline between Corpus and Brownsville, right around the Kennedy Maverick area, maybe of Texas coastline, right around the area where Hurricane Brett made landfall in 1989. For those of you guys who were around back then. So we're pretty much hitting the best possible location in terms of a Texas landfall, but still, regardless, gave a lot of damage to parts of Texas, and especially inland, like I said, in places like Raymondville, and places near that where they got hurricane force winds and lots of flooding from the storm.
And then after Hannah and Isaias in the Atlantic, it was Josephine.
The big one. Oh no.
It's a lot of low quality storms, basically.
Yeah.
Until
The big one, Josephine.
The big one.
There was Gonzalo. Everyone thought for a while was going to become
Gonzalo, yes, and then
fire ripped it out.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk
Gonzalo.
about Laura then.
Yeah.
Oh, Gonzalo?
Oh, I was just going to mention that, Gonzalo really did not meet up to expectations at all.
All right, let's.
Nope, Gonzalo went Gonzo.
Yeah.
Yep.
We forgot about,
Gonzalo.
we forgot about Genevieve. We forgot about Genevieve.
Oh, we forgot about Genevieve.
Yes.
Genevieve
yes.
is so
We
important.
almost forgot.
Yeah.
No, Genevieve.
Oh,
Genevieve hit the Baja. It actually, so the people in the Baja, we have to talk about Genevieve.
Right.
Yeah, it did scrape there as a weakening system.
Yeah,
I remember back when Genevieve was, I think it was number 95E as an invest. I was making comb prototypes for later in the season, and I predicted a 115-mile-an-hour peak, and comb makers in the project said, "That's too high. Genevieve won't rapidly intensify." Well, look what happened.
I mean, this was really, I think Genevieve was a remarkable storm when it comes to model guidance too, because model guidance from towards the very beginning had basically a pretty steep curve of rapid intensification. And models did a good job. Models actually, in the end, overshot a little bit as guidance continued.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were going for like 145, and then that Iowa replacement cycle and dry air entrainment, potentially from, and this was in the forecast discussions, a cold trail from Hurricane Alita, which was just before it interrupted the system.
Yeah, but I mean, model guidance was remarkable on that, and I was really worried at the beginning because the model guidance did look somewhat reminiscent of Patricia's beginnings. So I'm glad that didn't pan out. It didn't have the conditions in the first place, but guidance did have a pretty similar intensification phase at the beginning.
Well, when Genevieve was dying, we had Tropical Depression 13 developed near the Leeward Islands, and
yes.
What did that become?
Well, I think we know all about that.
We all know.
Well, it could have been Marco. I don't know. I would have mixed up.
It was close.
Yeah,
It
I
could have been
thought
either.
that there was a good. I honestly thought that those two storms could have been named at the same time, and I was like, "What is the NHC going to do if they're named at the same time?" Well, we didn't.
I do believe they named the easternmost one first in that situation.
I thought it was whichever one's number, like whichever one was designated as a TD first, was how they did it. Maybe not.
I don't know.
It seemed that way because, like, when Vicky, Wilfred, and Alpha all formed, they all formed within very close proximity of each other, or not proximity, but like close in time.
Wilfred, Alpha, and Beta. You mean?
A few hours apart.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, they were all within 6 hours of each other.
Yeah, I think the fortunate thing,
And it became Beta.
the fortunate thing for those three storms is even though they all formed within a 6-hour window, none of them technically formed at the
That's
same advisory
September.
point.
Well, this is September. We're getting off topic.
Yes, we should focus on Laura,
We'll talk
which
about that
was
tomorrow.
Laura, yes.
arguably the strongest storm by wind speed ever to make landfall in Louisiana, and definitely the strongest by far anywhere near its landfall location.
Yeah, so
Did tie with our hurricane in 1856 with the former record.
Those
Well,
are all
that-
pictures
now-
of Laura, are they, Isaac?
Yep, that's the Mesovortis sees in the eye of Laura from Go 16. Look at that. And here's the radar in Lake Charles that got destroyed by the hurricane.
Did they fix that yet, Isaac? Or is
They're in
that
the
still
process of they're in the process of actually fixing it at this point. They just ordered parts from it. Actually, now that you say it, they ordered parts from it, and they expect it to be back online by I think they said late March next year.
Oh,
what?
'Cause didn't when the I think it was Zeta or Delta made landfall nearby, they had like a university bring down a mobile radar towards the site or something.
It was Delta that made landfall nearby.
Yeah, they did have with Delta. They did have a team from Oklahoma come down and provided a mobile Doppler radar for them to use when the storm made landfall there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
With regards to Laura,
what-
one of the sticking points is how strong was it actually, and what do we all think?
155.
Yeah, I think 150.
Yeah, 150,
150 to 155.
Yeah.
Pretty good agreements on that.
Yeah, looks like it.
That's a consensus, all right. That's a
What I
consensus.
what I find so incredible about Laura is how far out we were expecting it to undergo this period of rapid intensification in the Gulf. We were looking at the Gulf of Mexico when it was still east of Puerto Rico and saying it will likely be a major hurricane as long as it has a decent structure heading in.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what
this
do
is
you
what
know,
we-
it had a decent structure, but it was ridiculous because it crossed every single major island in the Caribbean while intensifying.
Oh man.
Even
The most
Hispaniola.
interesting thing was the storm was really broad until it really got towards, the latitude of Cuba. So it kept having these center relocations to the south, which, even though it was brushing landfalls on some of these places, the overall center stayed to the south. And that was contrary to a lot of models at the time, which kept trying to eventually pull it a bit west-northwest to be north of Hispaniola or north of Cuba. And that didn't materialize, and that's what led
Yeah,
to...
the only model that really picked up on the southward motion was the UK Met Office, and I believe compared to the first cone from the NHC, which wanted the storm to head for Miami, it ended up actually passing 600 miles south of that day 5 forecast point eventually.
Oh yes, I can remember those model runs wanting a Category 4 going into Miami.
Oh yes, a Cat 4 into Miami, and then a Cat 4 into New Orleans, and then it was a Cat 4 west of New Orleans eventually.
Oh no.
What's funny is that New Orleans was inside of cones like 5, 6, 7 times, but other than Marco, which was barely anything, it didn't really got hit significantly. Oh, well, until Zeta, but before Zeta, New Orleans was in the cones 5, 6, 7 times, and they barely got anything, which was quite interesting and hilarious, if you ask me.
I'd say New Orleans has been the luckiest place in the basin this year.
Yeah. I don't know if that's
Marco
what
did get Zeta.
Marco, but
That's not.
the interesting thing about Marco is that it made landfall without any tropical storm warnings in place, even though it was still a tropical storm.
Yeah, because the tropical storm winds still remained off land.
Can I just say something for a minute about Marco that really annoys me here?
Go on.
I remember during one point of Marco's forecast, the National Hurricane Center forecasted a peak of 85 miles per hour in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, at the time, all models agreed that wind shear would absolutely skyrocket in the Gulf of Mexico, which it ultimately did. And which means that I was completely in doubt of this thing honestly reaching hurricane status, and my analysis actually barely, and I mean barely, puts it as a hurricane. Like my operational analysis didn't even have it as one.
Marco really wasn't at all impressive in terms of anything really. It was just a standard borderline hurricane. But
I mean, it had a small eye, and I believe it rapidly intensified.
What?
I guess you could
What
say
you
that.
have?
But like the one thing that still stands out to me about the two is that at one point the NHC had their cones completely overlapping, and where they had landfalls in Louisiana within the span of 48 hours.
No, Marco
obviously didn't happen, but
Marco did undergo RI at an earlier point in its life. It did have the 1 millibar per hour drop for about 18 hours ish. Yeah, so it did that, and that was when it became a mid-range tropical storm. So yeah, it did technically do it. It never like blew up into a major hurricane like what was anticipated at one point, but it did undergo rapid intensification.
Well, what that should be remembered. What should be remembered about Marco is that it basically takes the shear for Laura, and it basically set the stage for Laura to be the storm that it is. That's all you have to remember about Marco, really.
Yeah, I mean, how many storms this year didn't undergo rapid intensification?
I think that's actually
Oh,
more difficult.
20.
Too few.
20.
About 1/3 of them.
In 2020, 20 storms didn't undergo rapid intensification, and 10
What?
did.
Surprisingly fitting.
Yeah, it happened so much that I was pretty much expecting it from almost every storm.
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly,
later on.
I think a lot of people are kind of pulled back because of late season, but even in August, until Laura, it was almost wholly these low-quality storms that were relatively weak, and all you had was really just the bulk quantity. We had, I think, in the span of 3 days, 2 random tropical storms form off of troughs coming off the coast, the East Coast, in like late July, early August. It was Kyle and
yeah, it was weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Can I
really
make a comparison here?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure.
the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, I don't know if you want to agree with me here, but it really reminded me of a Westpac season, not just because of, the amount of activity that it had, but, there was also, just by how earlier in the year there were, more storms, but there were of less quality, and then once you got to October and November, you just had a train of major hurricanes. I mean, it really
Well,
did remind me of the Westpac. I'm gonna be honest.
OMG, this storm should be in the Westpac. It's a common joke in the public server. Well, storm like
Yes, we
Teddy,
had,
Ita, and Iota were active. That was thrown a lot because it really does look like it should be a Westpac season, but it isn't. It's in the Atlantic.
It's
I mean,
as
we'll
if the
get to them.
Westpac and the Atlantic switched places.
I mean, yeah, we have 5 more storms that have formed in the Atlantic than the Westpac this year.
It's not over yet. The Western Pacific looks like it might produce a few more.
The other trend, though, really that part of the summer, that latter part, was the development, really, or the much more, starting to get the official recognition of the La Nina, which is now quite intense. But back then, it was more moderate, and it was just getting to the point where it's becoming official, and that really led to some of what we saw late in the season.
Well, what we saw about the ultimate effect of that, we will see tomorrow. In the monthly summit tomorrow.
Just want to point out one thing that almost no one remembers.
Yes.
Which is that Tropical Depression 15 formed on August 31st, 3 hours before the start of September.
And that became Little Omar, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh boy.
The storm that kept on going no matter how strong the shear got.
Yes, it's true. It's incredible.
Well, after
It was mad that it got designated over there.
Yeah, it was
After Marco, though.
40 to 50 knots of wind shear, and it still survived for
Wait till
another
we get
3
to
days.
Ethan?
After Marco in August, we had Typhoon Bavi. That was in the East China Sea, right?
Did we not talk about Bobby yet?
Yeah, we went through the
We
trio.
were talking about it a bit.
We went through Bobby Mesa and
Well, then that trio happened.
Yeah, I don't think we've been chronological in tonight's discussion.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Hai Shen is our current Discord server banner.
Is that what it is? Right.
That is, it's an image of Hai Shen
I was wondering.
produced by the amazing Isaac of our team. I believe he's screen sharing it now.
Yeah, that's an amazing image.
I think that sums up most of what happened in July and August then in that case. And Strat, here's another chance for you to give a plug. Our Discord server.
Yeah. I think first off, thank you to everyone just for being here tonight again.
Strat appreciates it, folks. Yeah.
Images here.
No problem.
If you guys want to join the community and chat rather than just being in the stream chat with other supporters of the community, Discord servers in the description. It's discord.gg/force13. We got a couple other things going on right now. If you want to apply for the Super Cyclone Challenge, those applications close tomorrow at noon.
Saturday
at noon. I'm sorry. Saturday at noon Eastern. That's when those close. So make sure to apply in the next about 36 hours or so. The Viewers Top 10 series also closes pretty soon, so make sure you vote on those. Those are some of the top links in the description. We also have still the merchandise sale for Black Friday week, I guess, on the merch store in the description. 10% off all purchases with code HW20. And then lastly, the most important thing by far, it's this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC, 11 a.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. in the Philippines. It's going to be an 8-hour-long charity live stream to raise money for international relief teams to provide food, shelter, and first aid equipment and other hygienic products for families and people in need in Central America after Hurricane Eta and Iota, those two devastating storms, of course, in early and mid-November. The fact that they made landfall so close together and such close in time frame really compounded the impacts, and that's why we're doing our best to make a difference through Force for Good. It's the top link in the description right now if you want to donate directly right now ahead of the event. our first goal right now officially is $1,000, and we're already partway there thanks to people giving incredible contributions. So we already have to do Bean Boozled on Sunday stream because of that. But the next goals right now, at least, are an ice bucket challenge for someone on the team, and the squirrel suit at $1,000 that I have to wear. So if you really want to help make a direct difference, 100% of the proceeds from this go only to Hurricane Eta and Iota relief. So please, I implore everyone, consider donating there now or during the stream. And it's not just an event that's going to be just for us. Feel free to tell your friends, your families, your colleagues to come stop by. We're going to have a lot of guests this morning. We're going to have other games and challenges as well, so feel free to come by this weekend.
I mean, we're going to have a lot of exciting times during that day, and hopefully a lot of laughs as well as we, as well as the more serious side of what we're trying to do.
It's going to be fun.
So
yeah, it's gonna be.
It's definitely going to be quite different than all the stuff we've been doing this year. I feel like it's going to be a bit lighthearted compared to all the challenges we've been through this year.
We're hoping so. We really are.
Yeah,
we'd like to
hope.
do things that make people feel good.
So, Strat,
sounded so Strat-like then, didn't I? Makes me feel good.
Yeah, Ethan?
What games are we doing?
So I will say the games specifically, because those are set, and the schedule and I guess a video just about it will be coming out tomorrow. We're going to have Guess the Storm. We're going to have a Minecraft speedrunning challenge where viewers' donations can screw up the speedrunners in lots of ways and make our lives miserable. We're going to have...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, I can tell you that right now. We're going to have Jackbox for the chat to vote on things and interact with that. We're going to have Rocket League for some competition and fun, and viewers will be able to participate in that as well with how the game works now. And then we're also going to have Among Us later on at the stream near the end hours, and potentially some more Guess the Storm mixed in depending on certain things. But it's going to be an extremely fun event for everyone to watch and participate in, and we hope that it's really something the community can get around together to make a difference in people's lives in these really hard times.
Well, I'm sure we
I
will.
would like to
in some way
say...
or other.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, go ahead, Ethan.
I was just going to say real quick about Rocket League. We are going to be hosting some sort of community thing on Rocket League. Not just this coming Sunday, but the Sunday following that.
Really?
So, yeah, Rocket League is indeed free to play, so if you want to play with us, you better get to learn.
These guys are really going into off-season mode, I can tell.
Well, the Southern Hemisphere might have to punch back at that a little bit. We'll see.
Crikey.
I will say one thing about Rocket League, though, real quick, Strat. You're going to lose.
I might just spectate to say how bad I am, but it's not about. Look, it's gonna be fun to play the games, interact with the community, but at the end of the day, I can tell you right now, that stream's not gonna be monetized at YouTube at all. So, and Super Chat will probably be off on that event as well. And make sure if you're trying to support the cause from any point now until Sunday, please do not use Super Chat. Go directly to the link so that you can directly contribute. We have some things from Monday. That, of course, all those ones from Monday are being added into the total. But from here on out, don't use Super Chat if you want to really make a difference. Make sure you're sending everything straight to that Tiltify link. It's the top link in the description to click on.
Yep, just to explain that distinction, Tiltify for the donations, but people can use the Super Chat to help our operations as we go into next season as well. We'll still be around, but I think the international relief teams is the bigger cause, and we're doing just fine. That's why we're doing this drive on Sunday. That's pretty much us out of time, actually. So there was another question, though, and something that I did want to mention about when's Atlantic Hurricane season coming out, the animation for 2020. That was a question that we received. I can tell you, and this isn't a date, but it's a... whoops, that's the wrong button. Where's my outro? I was about to click my outro, but it's disappeared. So there you go. There's an old cyclone track. Nice. I want my outro.
Oh my
I was going to play the outro whilst I was talking, but nope, that's not happening. Okay, great. Yeah.
What did I just
What was I even
miss?
going to say?
You were talking about when the Atlantic
Yes.
hurricane season.
It is white. Yes, so statistically, it is most likely to be released on December 21st, but that's not a concrete date. It could be earlier, and if we do get more activity, it could be later. Eastern Pacific most likely to come out on December the 19th, and in the Western Pacific most likely to appear on January 2nd. But those dates are negotiable depending on what actually happens, so we'll have to see on that. Tomorrow we have got the team top 10, so you can see what these bunch of numpties have chosen for their top 10. The final of Eye of the Storm. Oh,
I'll win probably.
The final of Eye of the Storm, 3 ways about it, playing against each other there. The fifth part of our monthly summaries, and we have a nice little educational feature in the later part of that stream as well, provided to us by Thomas. I've seen it already, and it's going to be a rather interesting thing. And also, the track of Vamco will be out late on tomorrow night's show as well. It's probably going to run for another 2 hours, just as we have done tonight. But thanks very much for everyone tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow on day 5 of Hurricane Week 2020. Good night.
Good night.
Night.